And that's the beautiful thing about real estate, because in the world of real estate, there's so much of it. The people who own it are wealthy, or they're passive, or they're not involved, or they don't really necessarily operate it like a small business. That spells opportunity for us. And all it takes is one deal to change your life. You all know my philosophy. Some of you may listen to the Sweaty Startup podcast, which is where I talk about small business. It's where I got my start. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the comparisons between my Sweaty Startup philosophy and why I love real estate. I think that too many brilliant, otherwise brilliant people who could have very long, successful entrepreneurial careers, too many of them don't succeed because they don't account for the risk-adjusted return of what they're doing. They shoot for the moon, they try to start a new idea, a new product, they innovate, try to change too many things, when most of the successful entrepreneurs, and many people who find their way to real estate, start out by doing something sweaty, not fun, not sexy. They're in a business that already exists. They just find a way to do something, one or two things, just a little bit better, and they carve out a piece of their pie. They go into an existing market. They don't get emotionally tied to their business idea. They don't take a lot of risk. They just start by going out and selling themselves and providing a service for somebody. They just start. They start small. They realize that business is a lot about momentum. It's a 10-year game. And many times you can start out so small and then grow a little bit and grow a little bit more and grow a little bit more. And you look up in 5 years and you've built a business that has some serious enterprise value. You have some cash on hand and you can get into real estate. Many successful real estate entrepreneurs have that same story. They got their initial capital, their initial cash from small business, from entrepreneurship, because it's really hard as a W-2 employee to save up $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 that it takes to jump in to real estate, especially commercial real estate. I mean, yes, you can buy a single family rental or a short-term rental, but when it comes to commercial real estate, which is a lot of the stuff I talk about here, it's really tough to get into it if you don't have a lot of money. And honestly, a lot of what I preach about small business and entrepreneurship transfers extremely well to entrepreneurship or to real estate. The reason why I love real estate, a couple of the reasons why I love real estate, is that it's very localized. It's very geographical in scope. It's very limited to a physical region. It is a physical part of our world. And you go back to the entrepreneurship, I think too many entrepreneurs try to start internet businesses and compete with everybody. And I mean, there's many people that I know that have won. So I'm not dissing that type of entrepreneurship, but a lot of people who win start local businesses and provide a service in person. And they have a geographical moat because they can do a business in an area, either helping clean, maintain, build, whatever it is to our physical world, and they can carve out a pretty serious niche. Now, real estate is the same way. I love real estate because you have a very fragmented market. You have hundreds of millions of buildings in our country. It might be half housing and half commercial real estate. You have millions and millions and millions of square feet. Every town has thousands of commercial buildings. And with that fragmentation, with that sheer volume is opportunity. If you have knowledge of how to add value, how to increase revenue, how to decrease expenses, whatever it might be, you can find opportunity in real estate because there's so much of it and it is so fragmented. One person doing real estate really well in California does not mean you can't find a piece of real estate exactly like the one that person out in California operates in Athens, Georgia, and buy a building. And like real estate, one building can change your life. One building the right way can change your life. We built our first self-storage facility. We had a $1.8 million budget, built it for 2.4, incredibly stressful. Bought out a neighboring property for $415,000 a year later. So we were all in for about, 2.8, 2.9 million. And that building's worth about $8 million now. It's one building. That is life-changing money. for me, my partner, and our investors. It doesn't take scale. It doesn't take a ton of employees. It doesn't take any kind of revolutionary, groundbreaking idea. We did nothing much different. I mean, we operated our facility remotely. We put some software in and we answered the phone. That's what we do. We keep it clean. We keep it well maintained. That's it, guys. The fact that so many real estate operators and owners are wealthy and older, 60 plus, and operate their businesses like it's 1980 with fax machines, secretaries, landlines, cash, all that. The fact that that is still a very acceptable way to make a lot of money in real estate means opportunity. When I think about business and entrepreneurship, I think about who am I competing with? Am I competing with the Stanford grads? Am I competing with software engineers? Am I competing with venture capital? Am I competing with big data, big companies? Or am I competing with the guy down the street who maybe even didn't get a college degree, but runs a great business that produces a lot of money, and he runs that business with a fax machine? Who would you rather compete with? And that's the beautiful thing about real estate, because in the world of real estate, there's so much of it. The people who own it are wealthy, or they're passive, or they're not involved, or they don't really necessarily operate it like a small business. That spells opportunity for us. And all it takes is one deal to change your life. I mean, yes, at Bolt Storage, my partner and I are scaling up our business. We have $20 million worth of self-storage under contract to buy right now. We own 25 properties. We have 11 more under contract. We are building a machine that can buy $100 million of real estate a year. Now, do you have to do that to do really well? No, you don't. But also think about the ties of entrepreneurship and small business into real estate, and it is the ace up my sleeve. It is my competitive advantage, the fact that I came from a hard-to-run, small, sweaty business. I learned how to hire people. I learned how to train people. I learned how to fire people. I learned how to manage people. I learned how to provide customer service, to build systems, and to do it remotely. We thought the most beautiful thing about our small business storage squad that we sold in January, we thought the most beautiful thing about that business was what we learned, the money. We thought it was the money. I mean, yeah, put enough money in our pocket so we could have a majority stake. We own 80% of a building worth $8 million. In reality, what the most valuable part of that small business was is what it taught me about operations, what it taught me about managing, hiring, training, delegating, marketing, building systems, providing good customer experience, and since running a business, blocking and tackling. Many, many, many real estate operators have no idea how to run a business. Many, many real estate operators buy it and either have tailwinds or kind of just let it appreciate over time, semi-mismanage it, and still get very, very wealthy. You do not have to be a genius to make money in real estate. I think the My First Million guys, Sam Parr and Sean Paree, they talk a lot about how real estate is what dumb people get rich doing. And they're correct. You do not have to be brilliant to make money in real estate. You do not have to be innovative to make money in real estate. You do not have to be incredibly talented and take a lot of risk to make money in real estate. There are many ways to do real estate. If we go back to that risk-adjusted return thought on, tech startup, billionaire chance, but 99% chance you fail, those are not very good risk-adjusted returns for me, right? If the odds are better than not that I'm gonna have to go get a job, that is not for me. That type of entrepreneurship is not for me. You can start a low-risk business, you can start a low-risk startup, and you can make some money, and then you can grow it and build it over time. That's a low-risk way to do it. There's also low-risk and high-risk ways to do real estate. The first deal we did was very high risk, partly because I was a 25-year-old who didn't know much, and I had an excitable business partner, and we got overzealous, and we built a building that was way over our skis. It worked out once we got it up, running, operational, and we got some tailwinds, obviously, between 2017 and now. Things changed. But you look at the other ways to do real estate. So yeah, we're all in for $2.8 million. We have an $8 million building. Great, wonderful. That's phenomenal, right? Very high risk, very high reward. We took risk. We levered up a building 70%. We built it from the ground up on a 15-year amortization schedule with big old debt service payments. Looking back, that was very, very risky for me to do. Now, we buy cash flowing assets. We spend less money on speculative, like hope this leases up, and more on, okay, there's customers in this building. Let's lever it up to maybe 60 or 70% so we have less debt, more cash. This thing's cash flowing on day one. All we got to do is pull a couple levers and make it a little bit more valuable. Those are lower returns, right? We're not going to buy a building for 2.5 and it worth 8 million 3 years later, but we can double the value. We can make 20% a year. Those are great risk-adjusted returns when you think about it. So as you think about real estate, keep all this stuff in mind. It's not about scaling. It's not about big business. It's not about taking a lot of risk. It's about finding a way to carve out your piece of the pie and doing it in a risk-adjusted manner that makes sense for you. And just think about how beautiful it is that we have a lot of very unsophisticated competition in our world, and just the sheer volume of real estate and buildings is massive. I mean, people ask me a lot, Nick, why do you share all your ideas? Why do you share your processes and the way you do business? And my answer is always the same. It's, dude, there's plenty of real estate to go around. There's plenty of it. There's 50,000 self-storage facilities in America, and there's 10,000 built every year. No, that's a little bit much, but 3,000 storage facilities built every year wouldn't surprise me. When there's that much, I know that, hey, I only need 500 of them. I need 500 of those buildings, 1% of them. Actually 50,500, yeah, way less than 1%. I need way less than 1% of the buildings under my ownership to make a huge dent in the world and have a run at becoming a billionaire someday. Why would I not share and talk and learn and build relationships with people like you and build trust with people like you who might want to work with me, invest with me, whatever it is? Real estate's got some struggles. I mean, it's not liquid. You got to hold it for a long time. And the number one rule of real estate is you don't want to run out of cash. Those are all struggles that make it a little bit more risky, maybe a little different than a lot of businesses or investments. But the fact that it is so fragmented, so dominated by mom and pops, and that all you need is one building that can change your life, makes this a beautiful, beautiful thing for people like us.
Juniper Square, the sponsor of our show, recently did a capital raising survey. And in this survey, they asked 142 senior executives at US-based commercial real estate firms a series of questions to understand the state of commercial real estate fundraising. It's an insanely valuable report with data on questions like, how much capital did you raise last year? How long did your last raise take? What type of investors are you raising the most from? And what strategies are working the best for you to find new investors? Download this report for free at junipersquareresearch.com. That's junipersquareresearch.com. Big thank you to Juniper Square for sponsoring the show. Thank you for listening to the Nick Huber Show. Just wanted to remind you that we have a paid real estate community where some really special stuff is happening. People are breaking down deals. People are networking. People are, I think, even formulating partnerships inside this group. We have over 100 members now. For more information, you can visit sweatystartup.com/REC. And the first 299 members of the group to get some momentum get $200 off the annual membership using the code FIRST299, FIRST 299. And also, you can check it out for 5 days for $1. You make a $1 payment, you can check out the community for 5 days. Highly recommend it if you're serious about bringing in some other people into your network, into your life, to help you become a better real estate investor.